It was a storm-heavy night, the kind where wind rattles glass like it wants inside. I sat hunched at my desk, working on a half-written thesis. The lamp buzzed faintly in rhythm with my heartbeat. Outside, rain painted crooked rivers across my window. The world bent into warped shadows through the water. I hadn't slept properly in days. Old coffee clung to my mouth like rust. The house smelled of damp wood, that sour scent that creeps in when storms linger. I told myself 3 more pages before bed, but the silence in the halls made me hesitate. Every few minutes, the floorboards flexed, like someone else's weight pressed down on them. I lived alone, or I thought I did. The strangest part is, I wasn't afraid yet. Not then. Not until I saw her reflection in the glass. My face. But she wasn't moving the way I was. At first I blamed exhaustion. My eyes burned from staring at the screen. The cursor blinked like a heartbeat I couldn't control. I rubbed my temples and looked away. When I glanced back at the window, my reflection matched again. Normal, tired, mine. But something felt off about that moment. The way she had tilted her head. I hadn't done that. I was sure I hadn't done that. Thunder rolled through the walls. The house groaned under its weight. I saved my work and stood to stretch. My joints popped like small fireworks. In the window's dark mirror, I watched myself move. Everything synced perfectly. Hand to neck, turn of shoulder, step toward the door. Then I stopped. But for half a second, she kept walking. My breath caught in my throat. I blinked hard. When I looked again, the reflection stood still, exactly where I stood, matching my frozen posture perfectly. You're seeing things, I told myself. Sleep deprivation does this, makes the brain play tricks. I'd read about it in my psychology textbooks. Micro-sleeps, visual distortions, completely normal when you push yourself too hard. I grabbed my empty coffee mug and headed downstairs. The old stairs complained under my bare feet. Each step echoed twice. Once from me, once from somewhere I couldn't place. The kitchen felt colder than the rest of the house. I filled the kettle and set it on the stove. While waiting, I stared at the dark window above the sink. My face floated there, pale and hollow-eyed. I looked like a ghost of myself. The kettle whistled. I poured hot water over instant coffee grounds. The smell should have been comforting. Instead, it made my stomach turn. Something about it seemed wrong, like someone else had been making coffee recently, but that was impossible. I carried the mug back upstairs. The thesis could wait until morning. My body needed rest more than my professor needed pages. I saved everything twice, shut the laptop, and crawled into bed. The sheets felt different. Not dirty, not clean, just different. Like someone had smoothed them differently than I usually did. I pushed the thought away. Exhaustion was making me paranoid. Rain tapped against the window, like fingers. I closed my eyes and tried to find sleep. But behind my eyelids, I kept seeing that reflection, walking when I had stopped. Morning came gray and wet. The storm had passed but left puddles everywhere. I dressed quickly, needing supplies from the store. Fresh air might clear my head. The grocery store sat 3 blocks away. I'd shopped there for 2 years. The staff knew me by name, or they usually did. Today the cashier smiled strangely when I approached. "Back again already?" she said. Her voice carried a hint of confusion. "I haven't been here today," I said. She laughed. "You bought the exact same things an hour ago. Even made the same joke about the weather." My hands grew cold around the shopping basket. That wasn't me. The cashier's smile faltered. She studied my face carefully. It was definitely you. Same jacket, same hair pulled back. You even paid with the same credit card. "Check your cameras," I said. My voice came out sharper than intended. She shrugged and rang up my items, but her eyes kept darting to my face, like she was trying to solve a puzzle. I paid with cash and left quickly. Walking home, I passed my neighbor, Mrs. Chen. She blocked my path, face red with anger. "How dare you?" she snapped. Her voice shook. I stepped back. "What? You promised to water my plants while I visited my daughter. We discussed it for 10 minutes this morning." She jabbed her finger at me. "You agreed. You took my spare key." "Mrs. Chen, we never had that conversation." Her face grew redder. "Don't lie to me. 7 o'clock sharp, right by my garden. You said you understood how important my orchids are." "I just left my house 5 minutes ago." She pulled out a key from her pocket, waved it at me. "Then what's this?" "My spare key that you gave back saying you changed your mind." My stomach twisted into knots. I forced calm into my voice. "Someone else talked to you, not me." "I've known you 2 years," she said, voice breaking. "It was you. Same clothes, same voice. You even mentioned your thesis." Her anger crumbled into hurt. "Why would you be so cruel?" I hurried inside and locked the door. My hands shook as I set down the groceries. This wasn't exhaustion anymore. Something was happening. Something I couldn't explain. I pulled out my phone to check the time. 7:45. Mrs. Chen said she saw me at 7. The cashier said I'd been there an hour ago, but I'd woken up at 7:30. My text messages showed 3 unread, all from Emma, my study partner. "Why did you cancel our session?" "That was really rude to do last minute." "At least explain why." I hadn't sent any messages. I opened our conversation. There it was. A message from my account, sent at 6 this morning. "Can't make it today. Something came up." I'd been asleep at 6, dead asleep. My fingers fumbled as I called Emma. She answered on the 3rd ring. "Finally," she said. "What happened this morning?" "I didn't send that message." Silence. Then, "What are you talking about?" "You literally texted me." "Someone else sent it. Someone pretending to be me." Emma sighed. "Are you feeling okay? You've been acting strange lately." "Define strange." "Yesterday at the library, you sat right across from me and didn't say a word. Just stared at your laptop for an hour." "I wasn't at the library yesterday." Another pause. "I'm coming over," Emma said. "Something's wrong." "No," I said quickly. "I need to figure this out." But she'd already hung up. I paced my living room, trying to make sense of it. Someone who looked like me. Someone who knew my routines. Someone who had access to my phone, somehow. The doorbell rang, too soon to be Emma. I peered through the peephole. Nobody there. I opened the door carefully. The porch stood empty. But there, at the end of my street, I saw her. Myself. Same dark hair in a ponytail. Same faded blue jacket. Same way of walking, slightly favoring the left foot. She moved down the sidewalk like she belonged there. Like she was me, heading home from somewhere ordinary. I ran after her. My bare feet slapped against wet pavement. "Hey," I shouted, "stop." She turned the corner into an alley. I followed, lungs burning. The alley stretched between 2 buildings, narrow and dim, empty. She'd vanished. I stood there, breathing hard, rain soaking through my socks. A woman walked by with her dog. She gave me a concerned look. I must have looked insane. Barefoot, wild-eyed, chasing nothing. I walked back slowly. My feet had gone numb from the cold. At my door, I found it already open, just a crack. But I knew I'd closed it. Inside, nothing looked disturbed. But the air felt different, warmer, like someone had been standing in my living room moments before. On the coffee table, my phone buzzed. A new message from Emma. On my way. You seemed really upset earlier when we talked. I hadn't talked to Emma since our phone call. That was 10 minutes ago. Emma arrived 20 minutes later. She hugged me at the door, which felt strange. We weren't huggers. You look terrible, she said. Thanks. She followed me to the kitchen. I made tea while she studied me. Her expression kept shifting. Concern mixed with something else. Confusion, maybe. So what's really going on? She asked. I told her everything. The reflection, the cashier, Mrs. Chen, the messages I didn't send, the other me, walking down my street. Emma listened without interrupting. When I finished, she set down her mug carefully. This is going to sound weird, she said, but you called me an hour ago. No, I called you 20 minutes ago. She shook her head. You called twice. The first time you sounded completely normal, talked about your thesis, made plans for tomorrow. My throat felt tight. What did I say exactly? You asked if I could review your latest chapter, said you'd email it tonight. I haven't written anything new in days. Emma pulled out her phone. She showed me the call log, 2 calls from my number, one at 7:15, one at 7:35. Play me the voicemail, I said. You didn't leave one. We sat in silence. The refrigerator hummed. Outside, a car splashed through a puddle. Maybe someone cloned your phone, Emma suggested. It's technically possible. But we both knew that didn't explain everything. It didn't explain someone who looked exactly like me, who walked like me, who knew things only I should know. After Emma left, I checked every room in my house. Nothing missing. But small things had changed. Books on different shelves, clothes hung facing the wrong direction, my bed made with military corners. I never made hospital corners. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every sound made me jump. Was that the floor creaking? Or footsteps? Was that wind? Or breathing? Around midnight, I gave up. I sat at my desk and opened my laptop. Maybe work would distract me, but my thesis file showed recent changes, edited 2 hours ago, while I'd been lying in bed. I opened the document, 3 new pages, written in my style, using my research, continuing my arguments perfectly, but I hadn't written them. The words blurred as I read, not from tears, from exhaustion, from fear, from the impossibility of it all. I checked my browser history, sites I'd never visited, articles about quantum mechanics, forums discussing parallel dimensions, a YouTube video about doppelgangers, all accessed today, while I'd been out, while I'd been right here, while I'd been nowhere and everywhere at once. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Hello? Breathing. Software familiar. Who is this? A laugh. My laugh. But colder. Then the line went dead. I threw my phone across the room. It hit the wall and fell behind my dresser. Good. Let it stay there. Sleep finally took me around 3. I dreamed of walking through my own house. Everything looked normal, but felt wrong. Like watching a movie of my life. I climbed the stairs to my bedroom. Someone lay in my bed. I stepped closer. It was me, sleeping peacefully. Face turned toward the doorway. The sleeping me opened her eyes. smiled. "You're in my spot," she whispered. I woke gasping. My pillow smelled wrong. Not bad, just wrong. Like someone else's shampoo, someone else's skin. Morning light filtered through the curtains. I'd slept later than planned. My body ached from tension. I retrieved my phone from behind the dresser. 12 missed calls, all from my parents. I called back immediately. My mother answered, sounding relieved. "Finally, we've been worried sick." "Sorry, my phone died." "That's what you said yesterday, too." My blood chilled. "I didn't talk to you yesterday." A pause. "Honey, you video called us. We talked for 20 minutes. Mom, that wasn't me." My father's voice came on speaker. "You're scaring us. You seemed off yesterday, and now this?" What did I say? In the call? "You talked about your thesis, asked about the dog, normal things, but you kept calling yourself the other one and laughing." The room spun slightly. I gripped the edge of my desk. "We thought you were joking," Mom continued, but it felt strange. "I have to go," I said. Wait, I hung up. I needed proof. Evidence that I wasn't losing my mind. I opened my laptop's camera application. Most people don't know computers keep logs, timestamps of when cameras activate. The log showed dozens of entries, all from the past week, times when I'd been asleep, been out, been anywhere but at my desk. I clicked on one from yesterday. The camera had recorded for 3 minutes. I hit play. There I sat, at my desk, typing, wearing a shirt I didn't own. Her fingers moved across the keyboard with my exact rhythm. Her posture matched mine perfectly, but her expression was wrong, too calm, too satisfied, like she was enjoying a private joke. She looked directly at the camera, winked, then reached forward and ended the recording. I slammed the laptop shut. My hands trembled. This wasn't possible. None of this was possible. I grabbed my jacket and headed out. I needed space, air, distance from my own home. The park sat empty except for joggers. I found a bench and tried to think clearly. Someone was living my life. Someone who looked exactly like me. But how? Why? A jogger passed, waved. I didn't recognize them, but I waved back. They jogged a few more steps, then stopped, turned around. "Hey," they called. "You feeling better?" I stared at them. "Do we know each other?" They laughed. "Very funny. You literally knocked me over yesterday, said you were sick and ran home." That wasn't me. Their smile faded. They jogged away quickly. Another person who'd met her, the other me. I stayed in the park until sunset. Going home felt dangerous, but where else could I go? The house stood dark when I returned. I'd left lights on. I always left lights on. Inside, I flipped switches. Nothing happened. The power was on. The refrigerator still hummed, but the lights wouldn't work. I used my phone's flashlight to navigate. In the kitchen, I found a note. My handwriting. "Stop pretending. You're not the original." I crumpled it up, threw it away, found another note in the trash. Same message, same handwriting. The stairs creaked, not from my weight, from above. Someone was in my bedroom. I climbed slowly. Each step felt like crossing a boundary. The door stood open. My phone's light swept across the room. Empty. But my clothes lay scattered. My dresser drawers hung open, like someone had been searching or packing. On my pillow sat a journal, not mine, but filled with my handwriting. I opened it, entry after entry about my life, but wrong. Different friends' names, different job, different memories. In one entry, I described a sister. I don't have a sister. The latest entry was from today. She knows about me now. Time to switch. Footsteps in the hallway. I turned. Nothing there. But down in the kitchen, I heard humming. My voice, humming a song I didn't know. I crept downstairs. The humming continued. Software content, coming from the kitchen. I peered around the corner. There she stood, back to me, washing dishes that weren't dirty, moving with my exact gestures, wearing my clothes. "I know you're there," she said without turning. My voice, but not my words. She turned slowly, my face, every detail perfect, except the expression. She looked at me like I was the stranger. "You're in my house," she said. "This is my house." She smiled, my smile, but empty. Not anymore. I blinked. She vanished. The dishes clattered into the sink, water still running, steam still rising. I shut off the tap with shaking hands. The house felt too quiet, too still. My phone buzzed. "Emma, thanks for the chapter. It's really good." I hadn't sent her anything. I checked my email. There it was, sent from my account. 10 pages of my thesis, but better than anything I'd written. Sharper, cleaner, perfect. Another buzz. My boss. "Glad you're feeling better. See you tomorrow." I hadn't called in sick, but apparently she had. She was living my life better than I was. I didn't sleep that night. Couldn't. Every shadow might be her. Every sound might be her footsteps. Morning came anyway. I showered, dressed, pretended everything was normal. What else could I do? At work, people acted strange, too friendly, too careful, like I might break. "You seem more like yourself today," a coworker said. "Yesterday was rough." She nodded. "You weren't yourself at all. Very quiet, very off." She'd been here, at my job, being me. I made it through half the day before my boss called me in. "We need to talk about yesterday," he said. "I wasn't here yesterday." He frowned, pulled up security footage on his computer. There I was, walking in at 9, sitting at my desk, working silently, walking out at 5. "That's not me," I whispered. "Are you feeling all right? Maybe you should take some time off." "I'm fine." But he looked at me the way everyone looked at me now, like I was unstable, like I was the problem. I left early, couldn't stand their stares, their whispers. At home, I found more evidence of her. A receipt for coffee I didn't buy, a library book I didn't check out, a voicemail from a friend thanking me for advice I didn't give. She wasn't just copying my life. She was improving it, being the me everyone preferred. That evening, I tried to catch her, set up my laptop to record, hid my phone to film the doorway. If she came, I'd have proof. I pretended to leave, walked around the block, waited 10 minutes, crept back. The front door stood open. Inside, my laptop was gone, my phone too. But on the coffee table sat new ones. Same models, same cases, but not mine. I checked the new phone. All my contacts, all my photos, but subtle differences. In one photo, I stood with friends at a party. I remembered that party. But in this photo, I wore different clothes, stood in a different spot, smiled differently. The laptop had my files, my thesis, my emails, but better, organized, more complete, like someone had perfected my digital life. A text arrived, from my own number. "Stop trying. You'll only confuse them." I typed back, "Who are you?" "I'm you, the better you. This is my life." Was, past tense. The phone rang, Emma calling. I answered. "Hey," she said. "You left your jacket at my place?" "I haven't been to your place." Silence. Then, "You were just here. We had coffee. You helped me with my paper." "Emma, that wasn't me." She sighed. "This is getting old. The weird act, the paranoia, Everyone's worried about you. Everyone? You've been acting strange for days, different, like you're not yourself. I laughed, bitter, hollow. That's because I'm not. Emma hung up. I found the journal again that night, hidden under my mattress. More entries had appeared. They described my life in detail, but as if written by an observer, someone studying me, learning me, becoming me. One entry stood out. She makes so many mistakes, wrong choices, wasted opportunities. I can do better. Another, they already prefer me. They just don't know it yet. The latest, tomorrow we switch for good. I tore out the pages, burned them in the sink. But when I looked again, the journal was whole, untouched, like I'd never destroyed anything. My reflection in the bathroom mirror moved wrong again. She fixed her hair while I stood still. She smiled while I frowned. "Stop," I said to the mirror. She mouthed different words. "Make me." I covered all the mirrors with sheets, the windows too. Anything reflective went into closets. I couldn't stand seeing her anymore. But she was everywhere anyway. In the calls I didn't make, the messages I didn't send, the life I wasn't living. My phone buzzed constantly. Friends making plans with her, work confirming shifts with her, parents checking in with her. She was erasing me without violence, without confrontation, just by being a better version of me. The next morning, my key didn't work. I stood at my front door, turning it uselessly. The lock had been changed overnight, while I'd slept in my car, too afraid to stay inside. Through the window, I saw movement. Her, making breakfast in my kitchen, wearing my robe, living my morning routine. I knocked. She looked up, smiled, waved like I was a neighbor passing by. I pounded harder. She ignored me, continued making coffee, checking her phone. My phone. Mrs. Chen appeared beside me. "Dear, what are you doing?" "I'm locked out," she frowned. "This isn't your house. I've lived here for 2 years. Mrs. Chen shook her head. "That young woman has lived here for 2 years. You must be confused. That's not possible." But Mrs. Chen was already walking away, muttering about unstable people, about calling someone if I didn't leave. I sat on the porch steps, my own porch steps, watching her through the window. She moved through my space like she'd always belonged there. A police car pulled up. 2 officers got out. "We got a call about someone harassing a resident," one said. "This is my house." They exchanged glances. "Can we see some ID?" I pulled out my wallet. My driver's license was gone. In its place, a blank card. "Ma'am, you need to leave. Check your records. I live here." They did. Found nothing. No lease, no mortgage, no proof I'd ever existed at this address. The officers escorted me away, gentle but firm. They suggested I seek help, gave me a card for a crisis center. I stood on the corner, watching my house. She appeared in the doorway, waved goodbye to the officers. They waved back, friendly, like they knew her. I tried calling Emma. The number didn't work. Tried my parents, same result. Every contact in my phone had become invalid, except one, my own number. I called it. She answered immediately. "Having trouble? Give me my life back. It was never yours. You were just keeping it warm." "I'll expose you," she laughed, my laugh, but crueler. "To whom? Everyone knows me. No one remembers you. That's impossible. Check your bank account." I did. Empty. Not just low, non-existent, like I'd never had one. "Check your social media. Gone. Every account, every photo, every trace of my digital existence. Check your memories." That's when I felt it. a slipping sensation, like trying to hold water. My childhood felt distant, fuzzy, like remembering a movie instead of living it. Who am I? I whispered. No one, she said. You're no one now. I wandered the city, no destination, no purpose, just movement. Every familiar place felt foreign. The coffee shop where I studied didn't recognize me. The library had no record of my card. My workplace had never heard of me. As the sun set, I found myself in the park again. The bench where I'd sat yesterday. Or was it today? Time felt loose, uncertain. A jogger passed, the same one from before. They didn't wave, didn't recognize me. Like our encounter had been erased. I caught my reflection in a puddle. For a moment, I wasn't sure it was me. The features were right, but something fundamental had shifted, like looking at a photograph of someone who resembled you but wasn't quite you. My phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. Stop fighting. It's easier if you let go. I typed back. Who am I? You're the draft. I'm the final version. People don't have drafts. Sure they do. You make choices, take paths, become someone. But what about all the other possibilities? The better choices, the right paths? That's not how reality works, isn't it? You're so sure about reality? You, who can't even prove you exist? I had no answer. Night fell. I had nowhere to go. No money for a hotel, no friends to call, no family who remembered me. I returned to my house, her house. The lights glowed warm inside. I saw her through the window, reading on my couch, using my reading glasses, looking content. She must have sensed me. She looked up. Our eyes met through the glass. She stood, walked to the window, pressed her palm against it. I pressed mine against the other side. The glass between us felt thinner than paper, thicker than worlds. You can still exist, she mouthed. Just not here. Where? I mouthed back. She pointed behind me. I turned, saw nothing but darkness. When I looked back, the curtains were drawn. I walked into that darkness. What else was left? The streets changed as I walked. Familiar but wrong. Like my neighborhood rebuilt from memory, from someone else's memory. I found another house, identical to mine, but the windows were dark. The door stood open. Inside, everything was the same but empty. No furniture, no life, just the skeleton of a home. In the bedroom, a mirror hung on the wall. In it, I saw her, living my life, surrounded by my things, my people. But I stood in emptiness, in the space between what was and what could be. I don't know how long I stayed in that empty house. Time moved differently there. Minutes felt like hours, hours like minutes. Sometimes I heard echoes, conversations from the real house, my friends talking to her, my parents calling her, my life continuing without me. I tried to leave, but the door wouldn't open anymore. The windows showed only darkness. The mirror showed only her life, her perfect version of my existence. One night or day, I couldn't tell anymore. She appeared in the mirror, not reflected, actually there, standing in the empty room with me. You're the mistake, she said, the imperfect attempt. I'm real. You were real, but reality chose the better version. That's not possible, she smiled, my smile, but perfected. You always limited yourself with possible. I don't. She reached out. Her hand passed through the mirror. Cold fingers touched my face. Don't worry, she whispered. They'll all forget you ever existed. The mirror cracked, not broken, just fractured, showing dozens of versions of my life, all slightly different, all better than what I'd lived. In one, I'd finished my thesis months ago. In another, I'd taken that job abroad. In yet another, I'd said yes instead of no to a dozen opportunities. All of them had her face, my face, but optimized. Choose, she said. Pick a crack. Live in that sliver, or fade completely. I chose to fade, not because I wanted to, but because fighting felt impossible, like swimming against reality itself. The empty house grew emptier. The walls became transparent, the floor insubstantial. I could see through everything to nothing. In the real house, her house, she lived my perfected life. Better relationships, better work, better choices. Everyone loved this improved me. And maybe they were right to. Maybe I was the draft, the rough attempt, the version that needed replacing. I sat in the dissolving room, watching her through the cracked mirror. She was happy. They were happy. The world was happy with this correction. My phone, the one that barely worked anymore, showed one final message. Thank you for keeping things warm. I didn't reply. Couldn't. My fingers passed through the screen. The last thing I remember clearly is the mirror going dark. Not broken. Just empty. Reflecting nothing because there was nothing left to reflect. Somewhere, in a house that was mine, a woman with my face lives my better life, makes my better choices, loves with my better heart. And somewhere, in a space between spaces, I exist, or don't. The distinction stopped mattering. She was right about one thing. They all forgot I ever existed. Even I'm starting to forget. Sometimes I see glimpses, through windows, in puddles, in the corner of mirrors, a flash of someone who might be me, or might be nothing. But she sees me too. I know she does. Because sometimes, late at night, she looks directly at where I'm not standing, and smiles. She knows I'm watching, knows I'm nowhere, knows I'm nothing. Don't worry. Her lips form silently. You never really existed anyway. And the worst part? I'm starting to believe her.